All right, everybody, this is Jason with Let's Grow Pulling, and I'm in the car with Chuck and Cheryl. Chuck McClinty is the owner and driver of the Back in Black Super Farm, and we're on our way to Greenwich, New York, to the big Washington County Fair. And Chuck brought me out here to kind of experience New York pulling, and it's been awesome. I saw one of the biggest farm pulls of my life last night, and they joked about I'd never seen this many 1066s in my life, and I saw like 30 or 40 of them last night in one spot. So today's the big NYTPA. We're going to be pulling at noon today and 7 p.m. And I've known Chuck for a long time, back with the Few the Proudly Orange days when I had that website going and stuff like that. And Chuck actually bought a rolling chassis from the Ground family off of that website, and that's how he got going. And he put together a good running super. Brent Payne from GMS Gene's Machine Shop, better that way. Everybody's familiar with that, and excited to see it run today. And out here in New York, they run the light limited together with the Super Farm. So the 540 guys, is it with an 8? Is that how it works?
Yep.
8 pump, and then they're able to they run at 8,500 pounds, right?
Yep.
And then you guys run at 93 or 95?
93.
93. So Chuck, welcome to Let's Grow Pulling. Talk to me about pulling. I know we've been talking a lot, off the air, if you will, but you were a big time puller back in the 70s and 80s. Did you go that long? Kind of when did you quit pulling the first time around?
We quit pulling about 1975. That was a good era for tractor pulling, especially the Allis Chalmers tractors. We could turn the pump up and we could play with anybody. And as I told you yesterday, Jason, I had long hair down past my shoulders, and I gave everybody lots of reasons to either love me or hate me. You choose one, and we'd go on with it. As time went on, I always wanted to get back into tractor pulling, and lost the long hair, but never lost the passion for tractor pulling, and also the Allis Chalmers brand. And I realize it's an uphill battle with them, but I cut and bleed Allis Chalmers orange, and we've got the 426 motor ready to go with 640 cubes, and with Brent and the team at GMS, the motor holds, and we'll go on from there.
That's exciting because a lot of it has been the Allis Chalmers brand. I kudos for you for sticking with it, because a lot of people haven't. Well, I haven't. It seems to be an uphill battle with the Allis Chalmers. How many super farms are there that are running the Allis motor still?
I don't know of many, and the Get a Load of This tractors have all gone to the Detroit.
Okay.
And so I know of very few that are still running the Allis motor, and I know that if I have trouble with this motor, there'll be a Detroit in it next time. There'll be an orange paint.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's legit. Yeah. So when did you buy that chassis then? When did you start the Back in Black process, bringing it back?
We started the process about 8 years ago. Went out off of your webpage called Bill Ground out in the middle of Nebraska, and not knowing at all what I was going to get myself into, saw the most beautiful 210 I've ever seen in my life, and turns out that it was a beautiful hood, and I believe that the hood is the only thing that survived to this day, and the rear end.
Well, that's fine. You start with good bones.
Yep.
Good bones.
Yep.
So what did you do right away with it? Like, what did you do that first year?
Well, the original plan was to just make it a hot farm. And the more I researched into it, well, you need to do this with an Allis motor, you need to do this with an Allis motor. And so by the time that you get done strengthening everything and getting reasonable cubes so that you can have it, all of a sudden I've got huge amounts of money in the motor, and well, why not make it a super farm? And so I was fortunate in that we didn't climb the ladder over the course of the years. We actually designed, once we got going with it, we did a pretty good job with going all the way with the super farm. The biggest evolution that we had lately was the SCS transmission. Transmission jumped out of gear a few years ago, and we had parts coming out the side of the motor. And again, being an Allis Chalmers tractor, nobody'd ever heard of putting an SCS transmission in a super farm, and that took a little while. And the new motor. So this is actually we pulled maybe 3 or 4 seasons on and off, and this is the first year that we've made a concentrated effort with the motor, the new transmission, and the new team of maintenance folks, Bob Coombs down in Oxford, New York, and Ken, have done a great job of ironing out the bugs in the tractor, and sure do appreciate their help. Plus, we have a motorcycle gremlin bell mounted in the motor cage, and hopefully that gremlin bell keeps the gremlins away from the engine.
I like that. You gotta have a little superstition. I like that. It's a beautiful tractor. I can't wait. I'll get a lot of pictures of it today and video, and we can show it to to everybody watching the show. And the AC fan, Chuck, is a passionate fan, and we get requests all the time. You post some D21 pullers, or post some 210 pullers, or 190s and stuff like that. You just don't see as much of it anymore, and it's really good to see it in like the super farm class, like the bigger cube classes. You'll see a lot more like D21s and 190s and stuff, like in the hot farm classes back home, because that 466, 426, they can still compete at that, but the Allis Chalmers really is limited by the cylinder head. I mean, that's been honestly for air and fuel is the name of the game in the sport tractor pull. You know that,
yep.
And that's one of the biggest disadvantages of the Allis Chalmers motor. Just the head, it's a tiny little head compared to the big, the IH or the John Deere heads on them. So.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, and if you want to make an Allis pull, you've got to make the investment and get the technology and pay for the technology and wait for it.
So tell us about 2016 so far. When was the first pull that you had it out?
Well, we had some unfortunate instances in July. My mom passed away, and that kind of messed up our plans. Sally was my biggest fan.
Yeah, I heard stories of her yesterday sitting out in the heat, 100-degree heat, watching tractor pulls.
Oh, yeah.
Would not go inside. So I think
would not go inside.
Your buddy Rich was telling us about that.
Yep.
Rich, the certified dick. That's what he called himself. The certified dick. I remember that now. You have some unique friends. That's all I'm going to say. Like, I wish I would have hung out with you when you were younger. That's all I'm going to say, Chuck. It would have been a lot of fun. Either might have been jail involved for me.
Yeah.
I like to go one step farther than everybody else. I understand. So.
Yeah.
But I'm 40 now. I'm getting to be a little more old and boring.
Well, yeah. And you get a little slower as you go. But we made a couple of hooks. 4th of July, I made the first hook and shut it down after 150 feet to get the readings and things like that. And that was at a brush pull. We pulled in maybe the bottom third at Norwich with Bob driving. We didn't have enough of this. We didn't have enough of that. And so we learned, then we went to another NYTPA hook, and we were in the middle of the pack. I made a mortal sin, and we have international weights now on the front of the tractor.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. And but we needed the extra weight from the Allis weights. And so with our adjustments, and we're going to be on this beautiful power track here in Greenwich today.
It is a great track. I mean, it can handle anything. I know we got the mods today and super stocks and super farm and tool drive trucks. They put together a heck of a good track. So, and in fact, if you're adding weight on the front, you're making power, and that's a good sign.
Yep. We didn't have enough weight. We used to have enough weight, but we've gone up quite a few gears from our original setup, and so we think we've got the gear, we think we've got the weight on the front, we think we've got everything where it needs to be. We got the gremlin bell hanging from the engine compartment, and we're just going to see how it goes. Hopefully the driver won't screw it up.
Yeah, the driver, that's a lot of it too. I mean, if you got a good power plant, it sounds like you do now, and Brent working on stuff, he knows what he's doing, and I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see it. So, and then where are you heading at? So today we pull at noon at 7 p.m., so we get 2 chances at it today.
Yep.
And where are you heading after this? What are the season's plan?
The next week we're in a town called Scaticoke, which is about 20 miles from where we'll pull today.
Okay, another county fair?
Another county fair.
All right.
And then we were contemplating going down to Galat Motorsports. They have a PPL hook on the next day. And thinking maybe it would be fun to travel down to North Carolina and visit with the Galat folks, see their new facility, and see how the tractor does. I do a lot of business down there, and might be good to advertise my business along with the tractor.
Nice. Yeah, because you make so much money tractor pulling. So I mean, that's why we're here this weekend, just to carry the money from all the tractor pull winnings you're going to have today.
Well, you take up too much of the back seat, brother. So.
You got a bigger car then. It's not a small Ford Focus. Is that what this is, Ford Focus?
No, it's a Fusion.
Fusion. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Next size up.
Next size up.
We're still in Super Farm. We're not in the big bucks.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So what do you do for a living then? Let's introduce the world to Chuck McGlante.
All right.
Cheryl?
That's close.
McGlante. I gotta say it Irish. Say it again, Cheryl. McGlante. Yeah, I can say that.
Yeah.
McGlante.
Yeah, our ancestors came over with the Irish folks, and I guess the Italians and the Irish were always fighting to get off of the bottom rung of the immigration ladder. So at that particular time, we were trying to be Irish, I guess. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Whatever we get to, whatever it takes.
So I own a company called Beltwide Incorporated, and we sell horticulture products, greenhouse products to tobacco producers, and that gets me out of Florida into the Carolinas and Kentucky and Tennessee, as well as around the world. Done that for about 20 years now. The technology is 30 years old. I learned it from a company called Speedling, and we both kind of outgrew each other 20 years ago, and I started my own company. And so wherever we go, we have friends, because we do business with our friends, and sell a good product, and we service everybody to death. And that's how we do business, and that allows me to tractor pull a little bit. So
I like it. That's a good story. So tell us about your team a little bit. Who's I know you mentioned. Is it Bob?
Bob Kuhn owns Kuhn's Farm Equipment.
Yep.
And he had worked on the Jesse tractors years ago, and so he knows.
Is that the Wiedemeyers?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They were blue, I remember.
Yep.
Super stock one. They had a diesel, right?
And he had a diesel Pro stock.
Okay.
John Weidman, excuse me.
Weidman, there you go.
Yep. Weidman. And so I really, because I don't do any of the wrenching, we have to have someone that understands what's going on. And his top man, Ken, keeps a book on the tractor, and he's just as methodical as he can be. And he starts at the front and goes to the back, and goes to the back and goes back to the front. And but I really believe that Kuhn's is the reason the tractor is on the track today and running well. And so Bob and Ken are an important part of the team. Bob Tomilowitz of the Tomilowitz family helps drive. He's coming up in a little while. My brother, Hank, and his friend Sandy are driving the truck. I've assigned truck driving duties to my brother, so he gets to drive the truck and bring the ice, and we'll see how that works in a little while when we get to the track. And then whoever else wants to come and throw weights is fine with me, but just seems sometimes there's too many chiefs and the only Indian around is me.
Is that your truck right there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I thought maybe that was Cole, but no, I don't think so. So we're kind of limited in what we have. Right now we're acting a little bit more like the Keystone Cops than an organized tractor pull organization, because everybody's finding their level and what needs to be done when. And but it's a lot of fun, and I can tell you when that throttle cracks, there is not a better feeling in the world. And for 10 seconds I forget about everything. There's not a worry in my life other than getting to the other end of the track.
That is the absolute truth, and that's the best part. I mean, I love the people tractor pulling. I love meeting new people, but still the best feeling in the world is getting on that seat, putting the old helmet on, and away we go.
Yep. When I know the track official didn't hear me at Walton, but that was my first complete good hook in a long time. And he waved me, he threw the red flag because we'd gone as far as we could go, and I just looked at him and I shouted, "This is fun!" and I know he never heard it, but I shouted it at him.
Good deal. So back in the day, let's talk about back in the day a little bit. So the Allis Chalmers, did you guys just bounce from like county fair to county fair, or what did you do?
Well, we spent the entire 51 week prior to the fair planning what we're going to do for the next fair. I went down with a D19, and I beat whoever I was to beat back when I was 18 years old or something like that, and beat quite a few that I wasn't supposed to beat, and got hooked on it. The next year, because I thought I had it all figured out, I went down with the D19 and the 190 XT and got my ears pinned back by everybody. And I said, well, maybe I haven't figured this out yet, but for some reason I was smart enough to have a photographer come down, and he took pictures of everybody's tractor while it was pulling, while it was in the pits, while it was waiting to hook. And we learned about drawbar height, drawbar position, tire pressure, weight. And after that, I think I might have been beat once or twice, and but that was it. And you know, back in those days when you just turn up the pump on the 190 and pull against a 4020 or 4010 or something like that, that turbo tractor was a tough girl to beat.
And that's the one thing that has, and everything that you had mentioned up to this point, and nothing, you know, drawbar, all that, tire pressure, all the things you talked about, that still happens today. But there was a day you could out horsepower guys, Chuck.
Oh,
you
yes.
don't do that anymore.
No, we don't do that anymore.
If anybody's jumping in the super farm class or any class, competitive class today, everybody's got the good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's good builders out there, there's good turbos out there, good pumps out there, and it comes down to setting it up and driving it out. And I don't care if people say you need luck to win a pole, because you can have 5 or 6 of you stacked within a couple feet of you. That's literally inches. And to actually win the pole, that's where it really need a little luck, a little hook position luck, and yeah, just a little bit of luck. You know, because nobody really truly dominates anymore. And that's you don't want that. You don't want to go to the pole knowing who's going to win. You want to go to the pole knowing that all 20 of us have a chance today.
Yep.
You know, and
no doubt about that.
Makes it great.
Yep, it is, and I believe really anybody can win the pole. There's no doubt about it. There are a couple tractors in our class that are still experimenting. I count myself as one of them.
You're an experimenter?
But we're still trying.
Yeah.
But I'm not satisfied in the tractor's performance. I'm not satisfied with my performance as a driver, and we still have to learn what's going on. But I can tell you that tractor smiles at me when I sit in the seat now, and a couple of years ago it snarled at me.
It snarled at you.
And so you don't belong here, son. And but we're smiling at each other now, and look forward to what happens today.
Good. Well, hey, thank you again for bringing me out here. This has been a great experience. And I met Earl Horton last night, and I met Gramps last night, and Richie Horton, and Mike. I can't say his last name, but he's like one of the fair directors out here. Everybody's been really good. Got to meet Harold Card again. I saw him at Bowling Green, and NYTP is lucky to have a professional photographer, you know, that'll come out and follow these poles, because you get great shots of your tractors and trucks. And yeah, we rolled into the grounds last night, and it's a huge fair. I mean, I talked to what was the young man's name? We interviewed him, Marcus Anderson. I think he had 4 farm tractors, two 460s, a 560, and a 1066. He was 7 miles away, 4th generation dairy farmer, and he drove all of the tractors here to the fair yesterday. So, but they got their day yesterday. Today's the big boy day. The big boys and girls will bring it up today. We'll have the modifieds again and the 2-wheel drives. I'll get a bunch of pictures of that as well. So, Chuck, thank you for doing this, and good luck today, bud.
Thanks, Jason.